Most people run from the silence. I ran from it. It's uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable place to sit. It's an uncomfortable place to be. But after you get through the discomfort, it transmutes itself into something else. It transforms into something else. It becomes peace. It becomes clarity. It becomes serenity. It becomes addicting. And you will not crave anything more than your peace and your silence. You probably heard this before, someone say randomly on a video. You might have heard someone else say it, protect your peace. What does that even mean? It's just like, protect that quiet space, protect that serenity, bro. Don't let anyone steal your peace, your calmness. Solitude, I discovered this traveling by myself when I had decided to travel. After my third girlfriend broke up with me, all the other times I ran. The first time I got dumped, I ran from the solitude. The second time I got dumped, which was probably like 6 or 7 years later, I ran from the solitude, from the silence. And it's strange how like every time someone breaks up with you or you go through a difficult period, you will find yourself alone. And I discovered that life actually is its own entity. Life itself is having an experience through us, just like we're having an experience. Life, the existence of the universe, of inertia, momentum, gravity, God, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call this life, this experience that we go through, it's its own experience, and it creates experiences for us to experience things through us. It's really hard to explain. Perhaps I can go deeper in another video, and I know I like to say that, but the ironic part about how after you go through something difficult, whether somebody dies or you get fired or you get dumped, etc., etc., you will find yourself alone. One of these times you have to sit in that aloneness, in that silence. Don't try to drown it out by scrolling on social media, by turning on the television and doing whatever you got to do. A little music's okay. A little music's okay because there's still silence in music. There's different forms of getting in that peace. You can still think with music on. You can still think with music on. But there's people who like sleep with the television on. It's just like that need for chatter, that need for noise to know that you exist, you know? Going out, drinking alcohol. Don't do that. Don't do that. Sit in that silence without any distractions and see what you find. Let's try it for just a second, just for 5 seconds. Just close your eyes with me. Even that right there is difficult for probably like 85% of people to do. But in that moment, what did you feel? What did you recognize? What did you hear? What did you notice about yourself in that short little moment? Those deep breaths for me, actually for everyone, those deep breaths right there, they reset your nervous system. They tell your body that it's okay to chill out and relax. It literally resets your body and your nervous system just by taking a deep breath. That's why people will say, whoa, 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 calm down, breathe, breathe, breathe. It's something they heard other people say, but it's true. It resets your entire nervous system, and that's why you are able to relax after you take those deep breaths. But in those moments of silence, you can hear your own inner voice. And back to what I was saying, this is how I discovered it, was I had been dumped by my girlfriend. It's when I made the conscious choice that I wanted to remain single for a while. I wanted to get to know myself. I was like, yo, that pain thing, The kind of pain where nothing in your body actually hurts, but you want to die kind of pain. The pain where you feel it inside your body and your mind at the same time. Like someone stabbed you in the heart in your mind. That kind of pain. I never wanted to experience it again. So I had experienced it too many times in my life, and I couldn't understand why I kept experiencing it. So I made a decision. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to feel that pain ever again. That was my choice. And I decided to take a trip. My dad has a house in Georgia. And to me, I booked some vacation time from my job. And I just drove there in my car. I remember the first time I drove there, I got a hint of this silence, you know. I moved there when I was 22 years old to my dad's house because I wanted to just live somewhere else. I just wanted to experience another state. And we drove in the middle of the night, you know, and he fell asleep during the ride. It's a 14-hour drive from where we live in Pennsylvania to Atlanta, Georgia. And, you know, I didn't put the radio on or anything because I didn't want to, you know, wake him up, even though he would wake up periodically throughout the sleep. But it's like that hum of the engine, I could hear it, you know, I could hear the car. I had a Toyota 4Runner that he gave me. And I had that car for 7 years. Great car. It's probably still running somewhere to this day. And I could hear the engine running, and I could hear the tires hitting the pavement, and I could hear the wind whistling through the little gaps in the hood of the engine, in the little engine rattle. There was a grill on there. I could hear everything, and it was just like, wow, this is kind of cool. You know, I could hear the cars past me, everything. I could hear all the sounds, you know, all the different, and I noticed it. I just paid attention to it, and it was just kind of interesting. And then fast forward back to when I decided to drive to Georgia again. It was the same thing, except I drove down in the daytime. And I noticed it again. It's like I kind of fell in love with the engine hum, the sound of the engine hum. And this was like what would make me want to tour later on after I got back. You know, I loved the sound of the car, the sound of the engine on the highway. And it's just like I noticed that the simple act of driving calmed my body. It calmed my mind. Keeping an eye on the time here. It calmed my body, it calmed my mind, and that I could think clearly. I wasn't in pain, this suffering pain that wouldn't go away. It didn't hurt as much while I was in the car, while I was moving. I could kind of process and compartmentalize these thoughts and feelings that I was having. And this is when I started to fall in love with the silence. And then the same thing happened again when I went on tour. After I had decided that it was years later actually, that I was going to drive around the country and go on tour. I started to drive, and I would listen to audiobooks and things, of course, for sure. But a lot of times it would just be me and the engine of the car running in the highway. And I could hear and I could think. And this is when I started to develop the ability to hear my own voice. You have a voice that is guiding you. Life is guiding you, except you also have a whole bunch of other distractions, whether it be social media, the television, drinking alcohol, friends calling you on the cell phone because you have notifications enabled, whether it be your job, whether it be your children, whether it be your wife or your husband or what have you. You have an inner voice that is trying to speak to you. Life is trying to speak to you through your inner voice, and that's why things happen to you, such as a breakup, such as being terminated. I'm not saying this is why people pass away, but people passing away is also part of this experience because this is how life is trying to speak to you. It gives you these moments. It forces you into these moments to recalibrate yourself. But sometimes these moments occur in our lives and we drown them out with our own noise, which could be the things that I mentioned: television, cell phone, friends, etc., alcohol, drugs, what may have you. We run from the silence. But I promise you, if you learn to sit in that silence, if you learn to develop the ability to hear your inner voice, it will change your life. It changed my life because I learned to hear it. I learned to listen. And that's where I learned how to become a better version of myself, because I could hear the real me coming through without the distraction of daily life, without the noise of social media. I don't even scroll on social media. I'll go on there to post, and I'll like a couple things, but then I make sure that I'm not on there too long and I get off. But to wrap this up, we're definitely going to do another video on this topic, because this is something that I could really talk about. I didn't even scratch the surface on what I wanted to say, because there's just simply not enough time. But I really wanted to create this video. I was thinking about it all day today. I learned to hear this voice. We all have this voice inside of us, which is guiding us. But I had been silencing it my whole life. My fears, my own doubts, my own thoughts that I'm not good enough. The thoughts of what is he going to think? What is she going to think? What are they going to think? What happens if I actually do this? What happens if I fail? Despite all that, life brought me to this point, brought me to the silence enough times where I got to hear my true inner voice. And let me ask you a question. I still got a little bit of time. Have you ever sat in the silence? Have you ever listened to your true inner voice? I invite you to take a moment, a small practice, 5 minutes a day of just sitting in silence. Hear what you are trying to say to you. I promise you that it will change your life. I can't prove it to you. Only you can prove it to yourself. But if you develop a practice of listening for 5 minutes a day, I can guarantee you it will grow into 10 minutes. It'll grow into 15 minutes until you have a practice where you're meditating every day for a half hour or more. And then you will begin to feel your true feelings about things that you have been burying under distractions. There's so much more that I want to say to you, but I don't have enough time in the moment. I want to thank you so much for listening. I want to thank you so much for being here. My channel is about growth, spirituality, learning, just chasing that wild dream. Thank you, thank you, thank you again for being here with me. My name is Pentley Holmes. I'm a singer-songwriter in pursuit of a wild dream. If you want to learn more about me, feel free to check me out on my website. It's pentleyholmes.com. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm sure you already know how to do that. But before I leave you, I invite you to take a moment to sit in the silence and hear your own inner voice that has been trying to speak to you your entire life. Peace.